Good morning, welcome back everyone. Hope we are doing well heading into today, into the action here. Obviously I'm Zola, joined with the wonderful Trav. Trav, give us a wave, tell us how you're doing heading into today's games.
I'm very excited, yeah, because we've got some important games coming up here in CCT. Obviously, these are the 2-1 matchups. Winner goes through to those playoffs, obviously, to play against the invited teams. And yeah, some important wins needed for some of these rosters, of course, knowing that with maybe a slightly lesser stacked group stage coming in this time around in EU7,
Yes.
there are actually like important chances to get through to these playoff matches. And I think the first game we've got coming up, ARCRED on 1win, especially for 1win, who are a team that have really been like grinding tier 3, trying to get that next step up into tier 2. They need this one.
Yeah. I think when you look as well, when you look at some of the teams that have already been eliminated, I don't want to say that it's a little bit undeserved, but you look at a team like Eternal Fire, and I think they won very few maps. You know, they won 1 and 3 in the series, which is really poor, especially when you take into account some of the other teams that are here, all very beatable teams. I feel like you look at, obviously, I think ECLOT, a wondrous run. I think many people would have been surprised by that from ECLOT, not to take away from them, but they've recently made roster changes, and I know Kriaz is going to be a great pickup, but it's still that idea of, okay, well, they've been able to do it with recent roster changes. They've been able to formulate really quickly, and really kind of like the turnover and the turnaround here from this ECLOT team's been brilliant. And I think a lot of teams do really struggle with that, but obviously we've already seen plenty of teams progress. Plenty of teams eliminated. We're going to be seeing plenty more to progress today, but obviously we do have this first matchup with ARCRED versus 1win. We can take a bit of a deep dive into this one, bring up the rosters, have a little bit of a chat, because I think there's a lot of intrigue about today, because I think for 1win, it's been quite interesting with their form, because they're beating teams that they really should be beating, but then they're also losing to said same teams, you know, in the days later. You look at their results and you look at some of the losses, and you're kind of embarrassed. You know, they played against K27 on the 9th of September. They bested them 2-0. It looked really good. And then literally a week later, they lost 2-0 to them. It seems like consistency has been the key issue here for this 1win roster. But why don't you give us the rundown here, Trav?
And I think as well, in this sort of tier of Counter-Strike, consistency is so hard to come by for anyone, really, I feel like. And yeah, but the thing is, they do have great experience. I mean, Hobbit and Inters go without saying, right? I mean, you got Inters who'll do the dirty work for the team. You got Hobbit, who's you know, the brains behind the operation, will obviously have a lot to give in terms of the fragging and the brain power for it.
Of course.
Cronus and Ozic, I've seen both of these guys play a little bit, but I've seen a lot more of Latic, and Latic is the guy that is very, very hit and miss. He's kind of like, I used to describe him back when I watched him back in his old rosters that he used to play in tier 2 as kind of the B-Tech Deco. He was like a little bit less consistent than Deco, but I feel like he was also as volatile in terms of his ability. He would pop off with these incredible flicky clutch plays, but also miss some sitters every now and then. I think he's got better since those days, and I'll be looking forward to seeing if he can prove me right today.
Yeah, the most favorite kind of thing about this 1win roster for me is the fact that Ozic and Cronus have been joint at the hip when it comes to the teams that they've been playing on and kind of the trajectory. They obviously both started out on 1win Academy at the exact same time. Obviously both moved to Enjoy at the exact same time. Obviously I know that was kind of the same roster, but they've been promoted to 1win at the exact same time, and it's because the partnership that they have is so nice to see, and I think that's something that will be on display today. Do I think Cronus and Ozic are going to be able to inject a level of firepower that just guarantees them victory? No, I don't think these two are going to be kind of so good that 1win now become this unbeatable roster that nothing can do. And it's been a year now with this roster. It's been quite some time. Obviously, though, 1win, they have strengthened things up a little bit more, obviously bringing in Inters, but I still feel like it's consistency, as we say, and as you said, it is very difficult to kind of manage. But a team that I've actually been very impressed with when it comes to their 2-0 potential has been ARCRED, but again, it's another team with consistency issues. We can look at the ARCRED roster, because it feels like this team, they are the pure kind of perfect embodiment of a team of confidence. It's 2-0 wins or 2-0 losses. And I think that's the real interesting thing about ARCRED is they seem to be able to best any team under the sun. They seem to be able to absolutely dominate. You look at 2-0s against Partisan, 2-0s against Eternal Fire, 2-0s against Eyeballers, but then they go and lose 2-0 to kind of any team as well. And I feel like obviously the level of opposition is really good, but in the same vein, this ARCRED roster, it seems like confidence is something that either gets them going or puts them down. It's that same kind of idea. But we have just got word, Trav, that players are getting in the server, players are readying up. So let's speed through the next bit. We can talk about the vetoes, and I guess you can give your 2 cents here because the vetoes have got some intrigue to them, don't they?
Yeah, I think mostly why this veto is interesting is because that both these two teams kind of play every single map in the pool. None of them have like an actual permaban. And One Win have actually decided to pick into one of their personal strengths, but it's also a strength of ARCRED. So
I love that, yeah.
Going to D2, I think that's going to be fun. I've seen ARCRED look very good on Dust 2, but also a little bit all over the place. And Mirage, ARCRED, happy to go to that because that's the one where they've got the most reps on. It's not their best win rate, but they've got 27 on that map in the last 3 months. And Train, I think, for both these two teams is a good way to end it because if you look at the numbers actually between these two, these 3 maps are their 3 most played as a collective between the two of them. So they're kind of staying in their wheelhouse here.
Yeah, and obviously I think the Dusty pickup for 1 Win, it's a map that they've played loads and we're going to be heading to it now. But I remember it was quite a while ago, but Latic, he posted his best ever performance on HLTV on Dust 2. I was on that game. It was against Permitter. He went 28-6. And by God, Trav, he was not missing. You get him on the AWP, T side, CT side, whatever. It felt like a 1v5, and it felt like a 1v5 that Permitter somehow were just still losing. He just was able to do anything, able to dominate, but things look nicer in the pistol as Inters chimes in early. He is a little bit alone here towards long, but that doesn't bother him as he gets a second, get Jack and Fallen. Surely Inters can't find a third. No, Raijin will put him to rest, but this is going to cause some activation here towards top tunnels, of which Chill surely to be taken down. How is there no trade?
Well, he's managed to get that one tap, but of course ducking and diving, but behind the back plat box, it's always very difficult to remove a CT when you only got that Glock. Even if you've got the P250, perhaps it can be hard to tap at that range. Let's put Ozik and Hobbit down into a 2v3. And you mentioned about some of the players on ARCRED. I think Raijin is a player I want to see have a consistent day today because he is so hit and miss. Some days you can watch him and he'll be like 17-6. Other days he'll be 6-17. He is that sort of player where he's very streaky and very inconsistent with his spray, I feel like, just purely from watching him. Region's going to have a bit of a gander toward lower tunnel, and that's actually the kit dropped on the floor as well. Can be picked up by Chill if they want to go up towards shot. Even spotted out, though, so they'll be going a little bit too early to go undetected as they get up toward A.
I like the idea if one of these players drops into CT. I know it's a difficult point to kind of position from when you're trying to take down a diffuser, but I think getting a player in CT can just be such an unknown entity. Hobbit's just clear towards long. He needs to help out Ozik on the bomb site, tapping Ozik found, and now 1 versus 2 for Hobbit. Obviously, the kit has been retrieved. It is planted for Hobbit. He needs to take a fight now. He needs to get a kill, because the second the bomb is being stuck, that's where the CT can just be such a nuisance, and Raijin finds, in fact, a great pistol round from both Chill and Raijin. It's the kills that Chill gets towards B, though, that are just so valuable. There's 3 players towards top tunnels. There has to be a trade there. Inters does all this work towards long, and then you think 1 Win are going to progress through B, but Chill's able to find a deep kill. He then is able to refight again, with still 3 up there, and not been traded. Very poor trading there from 1 Win, and honestly, they didn't deserve to win that pistol.
Yeah, valid, I would say. And yeah, the last time I actually watched ARCRED was actually a Dust 2 game. I was very happy with what I saw from DSSJ in particular. Yeah, one of his career best performances, funnily enough, on that particular game. He went 28-9 with a 2.21 rating and a 13.9% swing, by the way. He had like 3 clutches with a 1v4 to win out the game. It was absolutely crazy.
I love a little swing.
Yeah, I know. And also, I think the crazy thing about that is one of the few players left in Tier 2, Tier 3 who's a one-club man now. Yeah. The SSJ. He's not been on a single other roster in his career. This is a bit of a brawl going on in round 2, though, and as you would expect, the Galils, the MAC-10, the Scout are doing so much damage, and it leaves current in-game leader, moving into that role, of course, Ryojin, used to be the star player, now the in-game leader in a 1v3, which, of course, is slightly winnable with how low they are, but the crossfires should be too good.
See, it was interesting with that kind of maneuver for Raijin, because it seemed like ARCRED kind of had it seemed like they had their systems in place, but do you think that was a necessary move? Do you think that was a necessary change? Obviously, I know Invisible was in-game lead in this team until, the midpoint of this year, and then they made some changes. But do you think Raijin, that's beneficial? Because I always actually thought him as the star made a lot of sense. I thought he was such a kind of a crazily good player. and potentially it would have been better to keep him as a star and maybe look for in-game leaders elsewhere. But it happens a lot. It does happen where you see players kind of maneuver, but have they been able to replicate? Have they brought in a strong enough star to, I guess, replace what Raijin was doing for the roster? And honestly, I don't think they have.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I mean, I do, as I say, Raijin, I love him. I've always thought he was a great star player when he was in those roles. Maybe you just realise that up to a certain point, you know, he's been just dancing around ARCRED for most of his career, like starting there, going away for a little while, and then coming back. I feel like he just realises, okay, I need a next step in my career here. I'm going to try something different. And I don't think they entirely know exactly what they want to do just yet. I mean, I've seen them play some games with Red Z and some games with Chill. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what their plan is with their path. But you know what? I am an enjoyer of some of their individuals, that's for sure. And Raijin will get a nice little dig through the smoke there on Krenos as they try and set up towards short. So this Force by War might not be done just yet.
Yeah, obviously Raijin, he had a little bit of time on one win. The only teammate or the only player on one win that still remains when Raijin was there was Latic. So yeah, I guess there might be a bit of a, I don't want to say a friendly rivalry. I actually thought that one win roster looked really good. And honestly, I think the Raijin Latic kind of star combination was what gave a lot of success for one win. But yeah, I like not only the fact that Raijin's kind of, I guess, quote unquote come home, but also the fact that DSSJ is such a long-standing member, because it's clear that both DSSJ and one win, and ARCRED are just thinking, well, great deke shot there from Raijin, showing that kind of star possibility. But Ozic with a triple in total, double at the end there. One win, somehow winning that one, and in doing so, it puts ARCRED on an eco.
Yeah, and yeah, that's why that game that DSSJ had against Partizan, last time I covered them, it was, let's have a look, it was 9 days ago. Against Partizan on D2, and for him to be, as I say, a one-club man, 5+ years on the team now since February 2020 in the online era, has never changed organisation. I got a chance to cover his best ever rating in all those 5 years, which was kind of crazy, that 2.21. So, yeah, you won't be seeing a game like that from DSSJ for a while yet. It's probably the definition of a life game, unfortunately, for my good man. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes today.
He starts this one 0-3. This is not the game for DSSJ. Obviously, he's going to be on the AWP in the next round. And I think that's where we will see what DSSJ kind of has best to offer. But I think so far, you're looking at the kill disparity for ARCRED. It was Raijin and Chill that both kind of carried the pistol. Raijin's had a good few moments elsewhere, but we need to see both DSSJ and Get Jacka activating, because I think these two actually have so much kind of carry potential. And obviously, there is the idea that this is a map of both teams' strengths. I think that's kind of a similar sentiment throughout the whole series. I don't think there's a single map that we're thinking, okay, well, this one's ironed on, this one's guaranteed to go one team's way. But I guess it provides opportunity for 2-0. It provides opportunity for upsets, which is always nice to see.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's what makes this game really interesting, I mean, in general, because it is Raijin playing against his former team, now back on the team that he has kind of loved throughout his career. Spent most of his career on ARCRED, but had a little stint, as you say, which didn't really work out too well. But yeah, I think with what's on the line as well, a spot in playoffs, which would be a rare chance, I think, for the likes of One Win and ARCRED to get through to a playoffs of a CCT. I mean, we mentioned all the teams that are there through already. ARCRED and 500 going 3-0 in this edition of CCT. Only a chance for them to make a name for themselves, get these important VRS points. Not for obviously this. Oh my goodness, okay. Jumping,
honestly,
jumping, kill him. Why don't you?
Can I just say, I feel like the A1S, it has some weird jumping accuracy.
I know. I know.
It's what I genuinely feel like I've seen more jumping kills with an A1S than I have an MP9, any SMG. Is there some weird little? Have CS added some weird thing about it?
It's always been very accurate when you're moving as well. That's the thing, right? But anyway, I do think that goes without saying that both these two teams are not in contention for the next major cycle, and maybe not even the major cycle after that into Cologne next year. But every single win, every single playoff appearance will just keep getting you invites at this sort of level, and who knows what you could build towards. Go around.
Yeah, this is where DSSJ needs to work well with the AWP. Otherwise, One Win, they could find 5.
Yeah, it's we've seen both on and off as well, of course. Latic versus DSSJ. Chill just jiggle peeking the angle. Chill very often one of the players you'd see at the top of the FPL rankings in EU. More than once he's been grinding that and see him on the little leaderboard on HLTV. Been around for a while. Bit of a journeyman player. But ARCRED are known for trying to support some of the Belarusian players and the Uzbek players. The one organization that does have the Uzbek players in the scene right now. OneWin are happy just sitting with their long control at the moment, seeing if they can lure ARCRED into an information push.
I think that's the important thing about the util advantage. Obviously, ARCRED. Oh, DSSJ. He's going to take a bit of a risk here. It seems like he's going to want to push through. They would have heard that in the smoke. They heard the smoke landing and hitting DSSJ, and that's what's given Hobbit the information. Chill, though, his Molotov taking down Hobbit, so it is a leveled up round 4 versus 4. Sadly for DSSJ, though, that AWP not activating. Flashbang's coming over. We've got a player in Gandalf who's going to be sent in by Radiant's utility. Swing comes through, but Chill missing. Cronus, great find.
Jump.
The bomb could be taken down, but Ozik holding. Brilliant from Ozik. Obviously, Ryujin didn't have the crosshair correct anyway, but the 7 HP player planting with 6 seconds left. That could have gone very wrong there for OneWin, and it still can, as both Ozik and Cronus have been chipped away at a possible 2 versus 3 here, especially with that first being found from GetJekka, but needing to deal with Cronus on the bomb site, not going to be easy, but Ozik found by GetJekka. Raging dealt with a Latic spotted. No defuse kit currently, but one can be retrieved. The Latic gets the kill here. It's another tap on the bomb. Peeking here from upper, and Latic with the clutch. He has the advantage of range and the deciding nature of when he peaks, and Latic finds them both. That's a great clutch there from Latic. A slight sprinkle of what he can do best, but yeah, it's that little smoke hitting there, giving that information to Hobbit that changes the round massively.
This is exactly what Latic does, isn't it? Like, I think you can rely on him when he's got the slight advantages that you described there on the long plats and in the corner. And the bomb is planted for him, and that's the start to the following round as well. Bill will not be chill after that.
He's so good. I think you highlighted it perfectly for Latic, though. He'll have a game like this, he'll have a round like this, which will just kind of carry him and propel him through the rest of Dust 2. And then we could see on Mirage and Train, it just absolutely fall flat. And I think that's always such a tough thing. I think it's something that you see actually quite frequently from AWPers, in fact, because it's not as though you might just say, oh, he's found another, he's found 3 in this round. He knows about the 4th as well, spotting on the cross. Cronus, had to steal away, wanted some of the eco frags. But as I wanted to say, I feel like you get kind of sometimes a real drop-off in individual ability when with your AWPer, because they might just not have the finances in play to bring the AWP out so often. They just might not have the kind of the opportunity to go for those peaks, because there is so much risk with AWPing. You miss the shot, you're going to get taken down, generally speaking, especially if you're going aggressive. So I think that's why you do see that real dip in form, and we see it from DSSJ. He's had the AWP, this is going to be the second time with it. If he wants some frags and wants some impacts, he's going to have to go for a risky peak. And he's 1 in 6, set a slow game. But I'm sure we're going to see DSSJ light up the server at some point today. Yeah,
I don't think he's going to be afraid of going for plays that he would normally make if he was having a good game, right? So I don't think he gets frightened by a poor start at all. OneWin will be very happy with this, and they are looking to push the issue here, ARCRED, looking for information. That's a great opening from Ryujin, but GetJekka's allowed just to get round the corner. Rotation is very quick, actually, from ARCRED. We've already got 2 rotating in towards CT. Quite confident with their map control at the moment, knowing what OneWin are planning. Chill and Ryujin together as Ozik and Hobbit come through lower with Latic, actually. Looking to go back up towards short, and they'd be right to do so, but they've got to get past both Chill and Ryujin, who are not budging from this position. Wallbang damage. Surely, even if they expect the 1 and have heard the 1, they won't expect the 2.
Oh, expectations may be limited, but Ozik hits the shot, prepared from the swing from Ryujin. And this is just going to be a save from ARCRED. OneWin should secure 6. And again, look, I said the idea of this game and this series is that all 3 maps pretty even regarding win rate, sample size, and all of that. And the fact that we're seeing such a dominant performance here from OneWin just leads to the idea even further that this series could be theirs to snatch so shortly, because ARCRED very limited. They've hardly put up much resistance here on their CT side. Obviously, both teams, they look fairly even when it comes to their win rates, not only on the map, but also siding, nearly having 60% win rates on either half, either side. So I think we're looking at this game and going, well, OneWin are absolutely battering them currently. There isn't really an excuse for ARCRED of why this has looked so poor, because they play this map and they look very good on this map. And the real argument now goes that if OneWin continue this level of ability, what's going to happen on Mirage?
Yeah, very true. Very true. I do think, even though I've seen a little bit more of ARCRED than I have of OneWin lately, I do think... Oh, I think was that a bit of a collateral? I think it was, right? Looking at that from Latic's POV. But yeah, I think they do have more hard firepower, I feel like, OneWin in this sort of a game. I think you've got some of these players who can be very inconsistent on ARCRED. You've got Ryujin, who's not really the star player he used to be, now in-game leading. I mean, if you look at what Ozik is doing so far in this one, and what Latic is doing too in particular, I think the combination of Latic winning the clutches, getting these consistent picks, and Ozik seemingly hitting every single headshot that is necessary in front of him, whether it's the jump up on A ramp, whether it's the pick on mid doors that he got in the previous round.
Yeah.
I do think that OneWin, look, their form could plummet on map 2. Who knows? They are that sort of team, but they are just looking a lot hotter right now.
Yeah, I think as well, when you look at what kind of the structure of OneWin's team is, obviously we haven't seen it massively from Cronus, but Cronus, when it comes to opening frags, when it comes to that kind of activation point and the aggressive nature that he has, that's what he offers to the team massively. And okay, yes, you see it with so many players. You know, I talked about and spoke about it quite heavily about Cypher on Fnatic, is a lot of the time he's going to have bad stats. He's not really going to be that carry. He's not going to have the amazing rating because he's going in first. He's being sent in to the Wolves, and a vast majority of the time, a 1-for-1 is exactly that's needed. And I think that's what we're seeing from Cronus. He looks to take the space. He's going to be flashed in by Hobbit and Inters. They always look to be kind of a very supportive duo, those two. And then obviously you've got Ozik and Latic on the cleanup. And this is exactly why things are working well for OneWin, because Cronus is going for the opener. He might get taken down, but you've got Ozik and Latic ready to trade. Obviously Latic's finding openers here, but it's just brilliant. It's absolutely just everything you need. And this is the issue that ARCRED are going to face, is when you look at their team, do they have that same stability? Do they have those same protocols in place and kind of such a well thought out identity as a team? I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, and it remains to be seen how it will work out. I think it's a good sign as well that OneWin are happy to pick into what is one of ARCRED's strengths. I have seen a very, very good ARCRED on D2, and the only couple they've lost to recently against teams maybe you'd expect to be difficult to beat, i.e. Z10, 16-14, TNL, 13-8. That's very valid losses to take on Dust 2, the TNL, of course, which is now in a circle. But I did watch a game of theirs against NIP Impact, and sure, they won it 13-6. Maybe they just went in lazy and took them for granted, but there was a couple of very, very poor decisions and, like, in general, rounds that I think were just purely lazy. So, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that was a one-off in that one. But, yeah, I think OneWin looking to pick into it, stick to their guns as well, is a good look for them, and being 7-1 up, very, very comfortable at the moment. ARCRED probably need 4 on CT to give themselves a real chance here.
Yeah, I think for ARCRED, the issue is it's so much easier said than done. They would have gone into this game thinking, okay, well, maybe we can win the half on our CT side. We'll kind of, I guess, we'll be pretty open-minded about this first half, whether we can get 5, whether we get 7, whatever. But I don't think they'd expect after 8 rounds just finding the 1 and being heavily under pressure. Obviously, the finances as well for OneWin's exceptional. They're going to be able to invest in pretty much the remainder of rounds here, which is just such a valued asset, especially when you're already in such a kind of a dominant position. But they have lost the opening kill here. Raging with an HE grenade does find Cronus. Obviously, a lot of damage has been dealt to DSSJ, but that might not really matter as he's wielding the orb. So, OneWin. It feels like the first round that there is a little bit of pressure, there is a little bit of difficulty, especially because we've got a strong A setup and we've got a player towards long and Chill. He's got a Molotov as well here, Trav, and I think the main goal for Chill is, even if he doesn't get a kill, just be as much of a nuisance as possible. Allow DSSJ to rotate into the bomb site and kind of help from there.
They do need to worry. But as soon as the pit player gets the duel, though, and there we go. That's what I was saying. Chill is like deep in pit and, well, completely obliterated in pit with the Molotov and the HE. And DSJ sure is being pelted by flashes. And yeah, 1-for-1 is really all you can be good for in that situation. He's done his absolute best. Raijin has managed to creep back into Get Right, but it's going to be difficult for him to deliver. Actually, they've got no idea he's there, but not been able to catch Latic jumping onto the side. Lots of damage. Should get pushed by Inters. Now, you say that is the bomb, but he gets the duel and is able to run back to the side and plant the bomb with 7 seconds left. But the round may not be over the line just yet. GetJacker's got a chance of the clutch. He knows where Hobbit was before, and he's going to go for the full hold because he does have the kit in play, and Hobbit's too far away. This one's done for the ARCRED's second round in a pretty crazy fashion.
Yeah, obviously, I think we got to say that Childer's really well there, just to try and delay. I don't actually know how DSSJ's been able to find a kill. There was chain flashes coming through. I don't know whether we can see it from DSSJ's perspective, but when the flashes are coming over, I don't know why the T's are so late to peak. Either there's poor communication on the timing of flashes. Secondly, I hate the fact that Hobbit's gone back towards short. I know the bomb's planted there, but his teammate is so isolated for such a large portion of time. And the fact that Inters is on the bomb site, it's not as though he has any safety net. It's not as though he can back away. There's no option at all. DSSJ, nice find here. Chill has been dealt with, and Cronus, he is going to be searching for DSSJ. Timing on the nade looks good. Molly as well to force him back. So 4v4, but the initial control of Long has been taken, and Inter's looking to progress through lower tunnels. Rajin's got to be cautious here.
With Latic, top mid. Oh, head spotted. Latic can just wait for him to peek, and Inter's called it for him anyway. And he goes back to check upper. Wary the possibility of there being two, because it's not the first time that Rajin and GetJacker have pushed him toward the B tons. So he will get taken down, which is a good recovery kill from ARCRED. They'll be quite happy with that, but damage has been taken in their efforts to recover this back into an even standpoint again. 3 long for 1 win. They had a lot of success here. We're getting the bomb plants and winning most of their rounds, obviously. So it might be run boosting Latic over toward the right side of Long. Oh, it's awkward. They can go again, though. They've got plenty of time in this round. There he goes.
Obviously, DSSJ is here towards A. Now landing, Latic's got to be cautious, and DSSJ can find second kill of the round. Obviously, for 1 win, they won't realise how far away these ARCRED rotations are, but we are going to have GetJacker in the back lines. 20 seconds left. It's fairly obvious they have to head towards the A bomb site. Great find from Cronus, though. There is going to be this flank. Yeah, this is the issue. And they're not going to be ready for it whatsoever. At least Hobbit's able to get to the bomb site and get the bomb down. 1v2 for Hobbit now. Aware of the positioning of both these players now. Hobbit, I'd love to see him take that fight onto the player in Long. Trying to isolate, and Hobbit can. Stuck in the Molotov, of which he goes forward for. And Hobbit, ammunition might be his biggest issue, but 5 bullets in the magazine. No qualms there. No problems for Hobbit. Nice find onto Raijin, and he plays that clutch really nicely. He plays it all as that kind of information game in the first kind of 3-4 seconds. Look, okay, well, Raijin has progressed on up. GetJacker's getting closer. I'm going to isolate these fights, create these 1v1 scenarios. And Hobbit, he does what he does best.
Yeah, I mean, he was, to be fair, kind of pushed into a tough position with again, the 3rd time in the half so far. They've had a plant on A with like 7 seconds left. And this time Hobbit in a very tough situation, but does so well. As the Hobbit that I'm convinced can still play at like a decent tier 1.5 level, if not more. Very, very solid in those situations and in general. Just perfect decision making. Pick the right fights at the right time. Managed to cross to avoid the Long flanker. MP9 push toward Long. Ozek did get the opening kill of the round, but gets caught by that MP9. Unfortunately for DSSJ and Raijin, they're not able to hold on to Long. And it's a double spray down from Cronus. He was kind of the man who set up Hobbit for that clutch as well, with the way he was so patient creeping up toward that A-bomb site. And Inters is in the right position to hold for these rotations. Takes both Raijin and GetJacker. Easy for Inters. Of course, 2 parts of the famous Gambit roster on this team. I'm of the opinion that I'd love to see AMKAL back on this roster when he's a free agent full-time.
Just get the team back up again.
Back in town, bro.
Yeah. You gotta leave what? You gotta leave Latic on the roster though, right?
Oh, for sure. Like, I think you probably have.
Well, because Shearer's not coming. I think
Well,
he's quite happy with where he's at right now.
yeah. I think what would be really cool is that I need a team like this, which I think is the right team, which would reignite AMKAL's career. Like, he did have a great win at that Bet Boom Lander LAN that he was playing just the other day. He played with 9 Boom Pro against Namiga, and that's with Flamus on the team as a mix, right? And they actually won. They actually beat Namiga in that LAN. So yeah, I think he's definitely not the player he once was. If you want to talk about biggest fall-offs, he's in the conversation, I'm afraid.
Ooh, biggest.
But I do think that if you put him on a team like OneWin with some of his old friends, I'm hopeful that he can still reignite form at this sort of level.
By the way, I absolutely love that 9 Boom Pro team.
It's so funny.
It's so good because it is just Bet Boom subs.
I know.
It's so they have how many players do they have on their bench? Oh, okay. Some of the bench players are gone. Nafany and Chiron are gone, but still, such a joy. Well, this certainly hasn't been a joy to watch for the ARCRED fans as they are 9-2 down. Best case scenario is 3 rounds on the CT side. Trav, they have a near 60% win rate on their CT side. Doesn't feel like that though, does it? Raging though. What it do is excellent there. Inters eventually will deal to him. DSSJ posting on the angle with Chill finding it, puts Inters in a 1 versus 4. He gets the first. Steps is going to be heard. Getting the bomb down though is going to be so tough. That's the difficulty. But he's taking the fight towards long. I quite like the approach. The issue is now is the CTs know he's not planting, and the fact they haven't heard the tap, they can continue just running him down. Maybe not the best approach as there was still about 10-15 seconds left, but Ryujin, he made the call. He decided, look, well, if he's not planting, we're just going to rush him and there's nothing that he can do. So at least there is that 3rd foul, but it's got to be said, this has not been the game here for ARCRED.
Well, what I did like, I mean, it's a very small factor, but I think it's quite funny that I think it was Ozic there who bought the T-side auto sniper, the G3 SG1 or whatever it's called. Yeah. Tried to, with all the money in the bank, tried to go for the spam on the cross, and just gets hard cleared by DSSJ with the AWP. Quite funny.
It's not quite the same. Like, if you had all 5, then I guess, but I still honestly, I still feel like DSSJ gets a kill and maybe even lives there.
Maybe.
Either way, though, I guess for ARCRED, they found a couple rounds towards the end. It did look very scary when it was that 7-1 scoreline. I think that's where at least they've kind of saved face a bit. Do they need to win the pistol round? Certainly, but it's not as though the game's over. It's not as though there is no chance. However slim and however kind of unlikely they are to take dust, there is still the opportunity for them. You're not in the same boat. You're not feeling like there is possibility.
I said earlier 4, right? I needed 4 from them. I think 3 might not be enough. We'll see, though. Here's that long smoke, which I'm still convinced is just not a great smoke.
It makes no sense.
There are gaps on the left and right, but I guess it does funnel them into either one of those 2 areas. I can agree with that. They're not looking at Car at all, which is maybe a bit of an oversight from DSSJ and Chill. And Ozic and Cronus are having a field day at the moment. And look how far the bomb has been thrown forward, by the way. The first 2 players going through that smoke, one of them did have the bomb, which is kind of a rookie error, I feel like. Now trying to clear the player out of Car is very difficult, but he will get his 1.
Yeah, they can recover the bomb as well. Obviously, I'd really like to see ARCRED actually just sit kind of towards the left-hand side of long like they are doing currently. Wait out another 15-20 seconds, force a rotation because they've only seen 1 more player actually towards long. I know they've heard the shots, but they've only seen 1, and that's why Hobbit is having that slight look in middle. That's why there is that slight idea of, actually, the B-bomb site's been open this entire time. Someone could be here, but unnecessarily, we have seen Rajin stick around for too long. He's trying to search for the P250, which I guess you can kind of understand as to why. But in the same way, ARCRED could have been a bit sneakier about this, yet again, there's 30 seconds on the clock, and they're going to see Raging once again, so they should know it's an A play. But Glock's being heard now, rotations will come through, and we've got Cronus in CT.
Oh, we get overwhelmed though, and Latic went down as well, and doing these long range won't be too helpful. Big bit of damage on toward Inters, 19 HP, 60 on Hobbit. He wasn't close to the action either. He was playing from long range, and Inters is choosing to go round toward long. Try and get an unexpected angle, and Ryujin's hit a banger. Now it's Inter's on that 19 HP, and he's not looking to push the issue. I think he's decided on a save of the Kevlar here, which is boring, mate. Come on
That's
now.
a great, especially as well that he's gone for the flank. If he decided to just swing fully, I think Raijin would have been kind of in a compromised position. I understand that Raijin could have looked to get that trade. Everyone's kind of been chipped away at though. And the issue is as well, my biggest issue is if you're playing the Julies, why are you the one playing from short? They had 4 players on the A bomb site kind of spamming through smokes and stuff like that for quite some time. Why is your positioning towards short? I feel like you should always just be playing close in CT, maybe even looking to take space, looking to flank. It seemed like the big issue there for one win is, yes, they found these 2 opening kills. They dropped the bomb. How did this go so wrong? They were in a 5 versus 3 with a bomb down.
Yeah.
Such an error. And I think Inter's, why are you playing towards short with the Julies? Imagine he was in CT when that bomb just got recovered and we saw Ozik take contact from Car. The Julies swing and they find everyone. I just, it seems a little bit unnecessary there. I think one win for a pistol round that kind of could have confirmed the game. I think they messed that one up a bit, especially with that 5v3 with the bomb down.
Yeah, I think the issue is as well, I'm completely agree with all of your criticisms on that one. Pistol rounds do have the ability to switch round a little bit more wildly than the gun rounds.
Yeah, of course.
And I think the fact that Inter's probably would have been set up really well to help out Hobbit, but Hobbit gets jiggle tapped by the P250 of Raijin, right? So if Hobbit's still alive, they absolutely stick together and probably find a way to win that, even with their HP, honestly, because they would have had a decent crossfire from CT and Long, and Inters would have been unexpected in that position. So, yeah, actually choosing to go for a full eco in the following round here, one win. Going to keep the B tunnels control, figure out there's no one there. No, it's going to be mid or long. They're actually all converging on toward up where ARCRED are positioned, but DSSJ gets a lucky second as the Latic cross gets completely swung into his angle. And the Inters may get his 1 kill with those save dualies, but Chill will farm up the money with the Mac 10. And ARCRED are now vaguely back in this game.
Obviously, as well, it's, you know, one win's first full buy, but it's not going to have all the bells and whistles. Currently, utility not perfect. We don't have an AWP on Latic. I don't believe there's a defuse kit. So there are some slight irregularities in this buy. This could allow ARCRED for 7. Obviously, all conditioned on the fact that one win lose this, but it's not a perfect CT investment. And with the amount of work that Latic did do with the AWP in hand versus with a rifle, I think it's clear to see the amount of impact that's lacking in this investment from one win. Always so much stability can be offered from your AWPer, especially when they're playing kind of here towards ramp. It seems like this is just the generic AWPer's position, and Latic can play it so well with the AWP in hand. With a rifle, though, it's not quite the same. It seems like ARCRED are going to be going for a potential mid to B split, which I don't mind the idea of, especially as well. If you just allow Chill to drop this utility towards short, create some problems, maybe even drop in CT. He's got the option for that.
Oh, wow.
Raijin, though, dealt with by Hobbit. Quick boost, and they found a kill.
I mean, Raijin was keeping an eye on that, wasn't he? But still got cleared by the Hobbit boost.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I mean, the pistol recovering it in a 5v3 or 3v5, I think, was very difficult. Here, it could be even harder. Thing is, if they just get the entry on toward the back plat player of Inter, historically always been in these tough roles, and there we go, he's been found. So Inters couldn't go 1 for 1. That means that one win don't have a man advantage to go for a retake now. Ozik is miles away. I think you just can't really go for this anymore.
Yeah, gonna have to save. I wonder what one win do though in this next one. Obviously, you'd assume they invest, but I think the difficulty is Hobbit does really well to get a second there. Inters is got to get one there from back plat, especially with the clear understanding that ARCRED were going to be heading for a mid to B. Potentially needing a reposition there out of Inters. Maybe he got bad timing. It didn't feel like it. It felt like he just missed the shots. But for ARCRED, we're gonna have DSSJ on the AWP in the next. That's something again that Latic can't afford. At what point are you gonna put stock in an ARCRED comeback? What do they need to get themselves 8, 9?
I think now it's on. Because good kills from Mozik, to be fair. That's some decent damage limitation on the money of ARCRED. I think they're like building up the money already, even though despite those 2 kills from Ozik, they have multiple chances at keeping the streak going rather than having to go down to an eco immediately. DSSJ has no money, but Chill's got a bit of residual cash, so we're getting there. We are getting there, but obviously 1 win. I think even though I hate saving with a passion, that save there was the perfect call because they know with a lead they can afford to take these sort of kill saves, keep the 3 rifles. You can drop 2 to keep the A1Ss in play. Have a full range of them into the following round. And I think it's just annoying for Inters that he was that guy on B. If he got 1 kill and stayed alive for maybe 5 seconds, I think they probably could have won that round 1 win.
Yeah, I think it's as well. Not only is it the right decision because it allows an investment here, and they don't actually. It's not as though giving away 1 round's the biggest of issues, but also it's retaking the B bomb site with no utility, no defuse kit, low HP for Cronus, Ozik so far away. There's just so many different factors where you're just thinking there is really no point in us going for this one. But it is going to be ARCRED looking to play here towards A. My biggest issue with how 1win have set up in their kind of recent CT rounds is it's a real lack of control towards middle, and it just allows for ARCRED to have so much space here. Latic has finally spotted this out. Flashbang's going to be coming over, of which the T's can be prepared for. Elevates up, but it gets taken down by DSSJ. We're going to see rotation soon, but Inters is already low. Ozik's been chipped away at. And the T's have a lot of control on the bomb site, and it doesn't matter that they're not going to protrude further out than this bomb site, because it doesn't... Who cares if they've lost long? They've planted for sure. They've got a really good setup currently, but DSSJ, I think he plays a little bit kind of unnecessarily aggressive there. He didn't need to take that fight or that peak, and now Ozik going to be progressing. He's the top performer for this 1-win side, and this is where he needs to activate knowledge of a player in Gandalf. A nade landing to chip away at Chill, but Raijin finding Hobbit beforehand.
And look at the HP. 13 now on Kronos and Inters. They've got to get a long way away to survive to the bomb blast. All the players of ARCRED. And Inters might get caught. Has he been heard jumping away? I think he might have been. Region should be able to use the gap angle to his advantage. Inters doing a good job of actually crouching behind the wall at the right position. And hasn't been seen and just about survives. Wow. That's, I'm not going to say it's going to be an ultra-critical save, but I will say it was an ultra-critical lack of a hold on A. They had so many players there.
Yeah, obviously for 1-win, again, you can have your protocols in place, you can have your ideas of how you want to play when you're kind of looking to defend the A bomb site. But the issue is Latic, he doesn't have an AWP in place, so he can't go for that kind of quick peek and just guarantee the kill. Secondly, they don't have utility because they've been continually burning it because they have no idea. It's just kind of, they'll send the mollies systematically. They'll send the smokes towards short just on timings because they have no idea. 1-win, you're going to have to take some space, whether it's a risky play through tunnels for an MP9, whether it's a double push towards upper tunnels to confirm that and then get like a late flank going. Take something towards long. They have no idea of how ARCRED are playing their T side. And because it's all guesswork for 1-win, they always have to force utility. And if they don't force utility, they're going to lose the round. It just seems so unnecessary. We're seeing this aggression now from Hobbit. They've got a double short setup. We've got to see this on the full buys here, Trav. Otherwise, I think ARCRED are going to find another. But Hobbit spotted on the jiggle. He spots out the gun barrel of Raijin and just goes for the pre-fire. Excellent find there from Hobbit. He's low, but they've still got the man advantage.
Scout spotted. Tags connected just yet for Ozik. Yorpa's keeping a very close eye on this. Starting to see why ARCRED are a good Dust 2 team themselves in recovery, but losing to this buy would be the most annoying. They've got Raijin pushing close into the smoke. If we saw Kronos do this earlier, set up Hobbit for a clutch on their T side, and I don't think they know Raijin is cross, but then again, Kronos is watching it, trying to cover Ozik and the boosted up Hobbit, and even though he does find the 1 kill, it always can be a guaranteed trade with Kronos holding that very tight line. Well played by him. Latic jiggles out Chill, and Getjeka has nothing to do here. Molotov doesn't even manage to clear the player out of the elevator position. Ozik will get one more with the scout, and 1-win have found an answer on CT for their first round on a half bite.
Yeah, and what a crazy eventuality. Because they've taken space in middle. They've finally pushed towards lower tunnels. They've contained that mid presence. They've forced ARCRED to head towards long. In doing so, it becomes so easy, whether it's MP9s, whether it's scouts, what have you. They've got the weaponry to try and deal against it. And because they had the early advantage, ARCRED felt like they had to go into a bomb site. It's just little moments like that. But then obviously, Trap, well, it worked in the last round. Let's just go back to what didn't and what hasn't been working.
Yeah.
I always hate these types of decisions. I'm very much under the kind of decision-making and the identity of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I don't know how OneWin can't identify that their aggressive nature is what gave them success.
You do need to mix it up. You do need to temper it. You do need to make sure you're unpredictable. That's the main thing. But yeah, I do agree that if you want to do something like that, which works so well, you can maybe throw it in 2 rounds in a row. We smoke in mid from Kronos. That'll allow Hobbit to have a little bit of a look. They have left the B bomb site somewhat. Of course, Inters is going to go back now. Well, they were just worried about a possibility of a mid play. From the lurk, smokes up short. Catwalk is going to be... Elbow is going to be the issue. Need to break that. And actually, Latic had an opportunity, but he's missed 2 shots in a row. And they have a chance to drop down in towards CT here. Latic is going to be forced into the open, but Kronos is doing a brilliant job. And the spray with the final bullet gets a 3rd player. Oh, my word. Rajan and Chill doing a good job, but look at the time. 5 seconds, 4-3. There's no chance at a plant. No chance at the kill for Chill. He's gone, and OneWin found the answers. Look at this.
Yeah, the thing is, they found the round, but I wouldn't have said that this is the answer. I think we've just had a great moment from Kronos. But look, sometimes that's how it goes. Sometimes that's just is what Counter-Strike is. We talk about 1v5 clutches. We talk about kind of individual brilliance. And however much it's not fed into OneWin CT side, it's not been, oh, okay, well, actually, tactically, that's why they won that round. It's just more the fact that Kronos has just had a moment. And that's something that ARCRED have shown. That's something that both teams have shown. But again, it's now the fact that ARCRED they have to go for a half buy here. They just don't have the finances to invest. We're going to see OneWin get 12, or at least we should see OneWin get 12. And that's where with 5 opportunities, surely they take this map.
Yeah, and also look at the nade damage early round here. I mean, I think that first HE caught all 4 of them, as you can see. A little bit more damage came in after, but no way they'll be able to do anything in this round. Hobbit has some freebies. There we go. OneWin will get to 12. They have been the team in control throughout the entire game until a little bit of the second half where ARCRED showed some life, but they've been able to establish themselves. They've gone for the right decisions with the saves and where to position themselves on that 1 half buy where Ozic got those 2 kills with the scout, and ever since then, haven't really looked back at all.
Yeah, now this is where pressure is at an all-time high for ARCRED. Obviously, they were very much down and out in this game. They were, what, 7-1 down? It was 9-2. They ended half 9-3. They've had a decent stint on their T side, but that is now 3 in a row for OneWin.
Oh, and you mentioned about these mid setups, right? A little bit more aggressive there again from OneWin, now knowing they have a bit of a gap to play with a 5-round lead. It's given them a 2-for-1, with Ryujin taking some damage as well. Do like that. Well played. Wanting to sit back like you've been a bit critical of. Oh, but it's actually been able to drop the bomb as well. He would have heard that too. That's awful for Chill and awful for ARCRED. Really frustrating. It's only through the corner of the smoke, but he wouldn't have known it was the bomb carrier until he was dropped onto the ground properly, I don't think. That little beep sound. Ryujin has got one back on toward Latic, but still a 2v3.
Yeah, as well, obviously, OneWin, they're all split. But ARCRED, they have no idea about where they reside. So worried about any eventuality in middle. Steps hard here. Timing on the nade.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, great HE grenade there.
They have a gap, sure, but ozic's just waiting on long for teammates to come and help. And it looks like they're going to go. Oh, I thought we were going to go double short for a second, but it looks like one CT, one short, one long. Try and enclose them. As soon as this smoke fades, Ozic should have a freebie, and there we go. I mean, Hobbit knows where he is. Ozic will be there to help out. Ryujin on 22 points of health to try and win a 1 versus 3 to keep his team alive on D2. It's a map he likes. It's a map ARCRED like, but one win, Arc better on it, and they've proved it today. 13-7 on map 1, one map away from the playoffs.
Yeah, obviously for both these teams, as we mentioned, map 2 and map 3, similar stats when it comes to win rate, when it comes to sample size. It seemed as though both of these teams fairly even for all kind of eventualities. The one difference though today clearly has been, Trav, that one win, it seems like they want it a little bit more. It seems like ARCRED down and out, and it seemed like there was just no idea of what they could find. And eventually, Cronus, he activates, he gets a triple kill. And that just little moments like that provide so much of a boost to morale, so much of a kind of a difference when it comes to closing out a game. And now, Trav, what do you think that we're going to be seeing or hearing in the kind of the call and the team speak from ARCRED? What's going to be said from the coach and the in-game leader? Because now they're moving to Mirage. I know it's a map that is their pick, but it's also a strength for one win. What do you think is going to be said to try and rally the troops? Because it's not going to be easy, is it?
Maybe it's a cop-out answer, but I do think they kind of just got, especially in the early stages of the first half, right, when Ozdic and Latic were performing so well as sort of a duo with the rifle and the AWP, they kind of just got out firepowered. They're going to have to hope for a little bit of a sort of a downturn in form from some of the one-win individuals and improve themselves. And while there was a little bit of a flash of light on Dust 2, there was a little bit there for them. It's not like they got completely obliterated. So obviously it warms them up a little bit for Mirage. I do think one win are looking at a lot better at the moment. So we'll see if that is going to be the answer or not on Mirage after the break.
Into the action we go now on Mirage. No messing about whatsoever, but one win. They've got that taste of victory now. They playoffs is in sight. And now it's just all about whether they can bring that same level of form on Dust 2 here to Mirage. But are we feeling confident for them, Trav?
Honestly, I'm hopeful because we saw a little bit of a, kind of a resurgence of some of the players that I know can perform so well on one win. But there was a resurgence from ARCRED as well. We didn't get completely obliterated on Dust 2. There was a little bit of a recovery in the second half. Can they keep the form going? Or will one win keep this form that seen little flashes of lately from some of their individuals on Mirage? Already the first pick going toward DSSJ, playing from ramp, waiting for a bit of information, searching from the likes of Hobbit, and he will get caught.
I've got to say, Trav, I think DSSJ, we know how impactful it can be, but can we just talk about recent form for him? It's been pretty poor. We've seen some very kind of bottomed out ratings. He's had a 0.44 in the most recent game, obviously a 0.5 rating against one win, 0.49 against TNL. There's been many poor performances in the last few weeks. It seems like September's just not been his month. And I think what we do have to say for DSSJ, if he can have a good game here on Mirage, if he can put that kind of stamp of approval on not only his own ability, but the fact that ARCRED, they are still a very difficult team to beat. That's exactly what we want to see here. And getting an opening kill like that, sometimes it can boost can really boost a player's confidence. But CT's going to be rotating, retaking now. We've got the smoke in the kit on Ozik. I'd love to see just an early attempt at the defuse, create some real chaos for ARCRED. I think that's sometimes the best way to play these types of rounds. Player spotted towards Sandwich. Cronus dealt with him, jumping across. He's cleared out Firebox, now get Jekka. Oh, nice finds from DSSJ, and he gets his third of the round, enters. He's recovered the kit from the smoke, but taken down execution style by Rajin. Bullet to the back of the head, and ARCRED, they win the pistol.
They've actually done quite well there, because in that sort of a situation, when there is a kit and a smoke in play, and you've actually found the first kill on the retake towards Sandwich there for Cronus, this is the kill. It definitely could have evolved into something a little bit wilder, but DSSJ hits a couple of really nice shots there. Important start to the game for him. 3 kills. Get on the Mac 10 and look to try and do some farming, but it's not the easiest of rounds to recover. Or to continue, I should say. MP9s, Deagle, 5-7. Gotta be careful here, ARCRED. They want a clean start.
Yeah, I'm always a bit weirded out and freaked out with these investments from one when I always look at them and go, well, you've got what? 2 MP9s, 2 5-7s, a Deagle. Latix obviously saving for an AWP in their first full buy. Very rarely I see these types of rounds come through, but they've got a decent gamble. They've got 4 towards the B bomb site. DSSJ darting through, sure, but Latic finds a double with the Deagle. Raijin now under pressure. Chill aggressing here from apartment. He gets a double, and now it's a 2 versus 2 with the rifles in play. One win, they do really well to bring this to a 5 versus 3 scenario, or 5 versus 2 scenario even, but we're down to a 2v2 now. Devastating here for one win. It seemed like such an opportunity for them.
They're in the right position, but they can team up together now, and oh my goodness. Chill almost gets an ace with one of them being a teammate, but it's a quad kill and a clutch for him. And yeah, I think that the setup, honestly, was, as you say, was excellent. They had a number of players in position. They had, I think, 4 in total. The fact they're able to recover that is crazy. Hobbit swinging there, I don't think was necessary. Chill was given a freebie. And, well, what you mentioned how those buys can often go awry. I didn't think it would go awry in that sort of a fashion. One win were pretty well set up there to get that immediate force buy back in response. Remember on D2, it went that way, and then one win streaked clear. They won the force buy war immediately. Not this time.
Yeah, obviously, though, financial damage, there has been plenty from one win.
More kills on the round like this would be very nice. Latic's actually already degged Raijin out of the round. There is one more player here where this came from, and Ozic actually holding the tight angle gets 2. What on earth?
Honestly, just play with the Deagles here one way. It seems like just screw the rival versus rival. Just keep the Deags in place.
There's another one, look.
What is going on?
Oh, wow. This is the round where they actually are, like, technically properly ecoing. You know, there is Kevlar in play. It looks like it's going to go awry. Kronos will pick up the Galil crazy round to win. And look what that's done to their money immediately. They've got 3 rifles recovered. Galil and 2 AKs. AWP on Latic straight off the bat. And ARCRED weren't able to build up any money at all early game.
Yeah, and this is the issue. Is now ARCRED, they're forced into an investment. They've got Deagles themselves. And yes, there's the Scout and DSSJ, but what an opportunity for one win. They can kickstart their CT side very nicely. And speaking of finances, we've got 4 players so healthy in the money department here.
Suddenly, it can kind of be exactly the same story as map 1, except it was 2-0 to ARCRED instead of 2-1. It's funny how that's worked out, because obviously we know how the Force Supply Wars work when it's 1-1, 2-2, until someone wins 2 rounds in a row. It can keep on going, but on this occasion, one when winning that 3rd round, kind of off kilter to how the meta usually plays out, giving ARCRED no money in the bank at all, and knowing that they have to kind of force this one. 1 went into the lead, 3-2 pretty quickly. Hang on though, Deagles are king at the moment.
If they secretly just made the Deagles just so much better.
Well, obviously, definitely is better than it used to be. I feel like.
Inters though, nice find there onto Chill. No more frags found with the Deagle for him. Rajin has retrieved this scout, but again, this is the full investment. However, limiting the finances. Nice triple there from Inters, actually. I feel like little moments like that for Inters, I guess a little reminder of actually, like, I know I haven't had the best of time. I know I haven't had the kind of the most impressive of kind of returns, I guess. But a little moment like that, definitely a reminder of what Inters can do.
I do think he's good enough for a team at, like, tier 1.5, tier 2. I would argue this is tier 3 at the moment. Like, I know he's had a lot of criticism in his career for being kind of the player he is. Pretty defensive, not as initiative-takey as maybe you'd want from a player like him. But he's always played in, by and large, bad roles, difficult roles. The ones that are always the anchor roles. So, look, I think for him to continue his career on 1 win, to reunite with Hobbit, probably the best choice he could have made, which kind of goes along with my hope that maybe in the future we see 1 win as an org that does have a decent history, right? They've been to an RMR before, they've had some great players on their teams. Maybe pick up some of these other leftovers that were good in days gone by, like an AMKAL, maybe even a Zorta if they want to go and raid the Bet Boom bench. I think it's, obviously you wouldn't replace Latic at the moment, but in the future, if Latic gets picked up by someone, that would be an ideal replacement.
Yeah, and I think as well, obviously for Inters, you mentioned he's never had the good roles, and I think it kind of makes sense because he's always been on very, very good teams, very well-established rosters.
True.
So I think there's always that idea of, you know what, there's a reason. It's because, let's be honest, there are 3 better players than him on each team, which is always a tough one. But not here. I feel like Inters has an opportunity, but Kronos and Ozic have been, really impactful. Same with Latic. Potentially Inters, he's going to be falling back into a little bit more of that supportive role, but obviously in doing so, he still has that clutch factor. He still has that kind of ability to be a real difference maker.
Inters has a good game. Invariably, it's because other pieces are working well around him, right? Like,
yeah, and a good game doesn't just mean kills. Exactly. Good games. If you like, genuinely, I saw a game from I've forgotten the team name, but it was Bird from Sky. He's
Kono?
Just is it Kono? Maybe it is Kono. Yeah, it would have been Kono. Yeah, so I was watching that game, and genuinely, I think he probably got about 8 kills in total. I'll continue the yap after this round's coming through because it's going to be this late A play. We're going to be seeing 1 win retaking. Latic can look to post up here towards Palace, and there is a slight gap of which he can spot get Jekka above. Get Jekka being very disciplined currently. Util landing on the bomb site. Latic still posted. Raijin. Oh, and there it is. Latic with a slight slither of sightline will find DSSJ taking down Ozic, though. That's so key because it allows for the bomb plant now. And Latic going to look to get posted up on CT. We've got his teammate in Cronus slowly progressing to find Raijin. Both of the T's have been chipped away at. Elevated angle for Cronus. Excellent way to find the pick. And now DSSJ, he feels like he needs to take the fight, needs to take the peak. Flashbang landing above him. We see the smoke landing on the bomb. And Latic takes the fight, but it goes against him. What is this swing play? I don't really know why we've seen that. Cronus then just drops another smoke for the fun of it. It's going to be the stick of the bomb here. DSSJ now worried. And it is still the full stick. He won't be able to take him down.
Wow.
1win are victorious. And Cronus finds through the smoke. Okay, brilliant stuff there. Nice retake. But as I wanted to say beforehand, there are just some players that aren't the ones that get the kills. They are pure facilitators. Their utility is what gains them so much success. And you see it. You can look at the AMKAL TV stats. Bertram's guy's utility is 99 out of 100 because his flash assists are insane. His nades through the smoke to allow his teammates to push on through. Little moments like that. He is always such a facilitator. And it's also why I feel that this Connor roster kind of works is because they have synergized nicely. And I think there are just some players in Counter-Strike where their best asset isn't them finding kills. It's how good they make their teammates look. It's about kind of raising their teammates and elevating their teammates to be able to have those moments of success. And I think that's something that I think a lot of teams, they actually struggle to have players like that.
Oh, that nade's done a good amount of damage as they try and force their way in toward the A-bomb site. There are a couple of trades in play, but should be safe here. Bomb plant can come through. I just don't think there's as much of a risk in this round as there was in the previous. Cronus did get it done. It was pretty awkward, like you were saying, but I appreciate how he went about it in the end. Good incendiary that will force it back onto the site. Elevated angle on default. He now knows where two of the players are, and Hobbit has a free reign, and he doesn't overswing, does Cronus. He waits for Hobbit and Ozic. They will clean that round up. As I said, 1 winner getting on the streak again. ARCRED started 2-0, lost against the half-buy, and the half-buy wasn't really that much. It was only a couple of deagles and some Kevlar with the strongest weapons, and that one, now 1 win, have won 5 in a row.
Yeah, obviously, this is where maybe things get a little bit scary for ARCRED. This is where they need to have that little moment of clarity to say, well, this game's slowly getting away from us, and that's why they want the extra 30 seconds to talk things through, to kind of pick apart the problems. And I think currently the biggest issue that they face is you've got Raijin 1 and 7, Raijin with 3, get Jekka with 2, Chill and DSSJ, they have found moments, but again, moments, that's the issue. It's not consistent. Whereas you've got Hobbit with 7, Cronus with 8, Latic chiming in. 1 win have just looked the better team ever since the weaponry's been in play. Such a terrifying thing to note, especially as well, because this success, this kind of snowball, it all was because of these half-buys in which they brought close, kept finances really difficult. It was that half-buy victory. It was the Deagles that got them their first round here, Trav, and they just continued ever since.
Do look to be pretty streaky today, do 1 win. And they look to be on good individual form as well. Hobbit playing next to the smoking connector. Always pretty dangerous when nades could come flying in and expose his position. With 2 players pretty close, he's going to go for a swing now, but surely he's not going to last too long there, and there we go. Sandwich between the 2 Jins, Rai and Ryu. Not a good place to be.
Obviously, if he checked, obviously, for the first of Raijin, then we would have seen that kill come through, but no, not seen. Are going to be repivoting towards the B bomb site here, but it seems like 1 win are going to go for a bit of a gamble, and that's kind of because Ozic's taking space here in Palace. I really like this type of play style of, you know what, we have just lost players in middle. We don't need to look to refight there because a lot of the time the T's aren't going to be in mid anymore. They're going to go for a grouped approach. So we're going to gamble 2 towards B. We're going to have Ozic ready to deny the plant. If they head towards A, there's a chance. If they head B, we've got a 2-man defense. We might just see Cronus overlooked here, but DSSJ posting on the angle. Cronus only to find the 1. It puts Ozic in a tough 1 versus 3, but the money's really good here. Honestly, if I were Ozic, I'd give this one a bit of a go. Why not?
Yeah, at least aggressive exits, right? I mean, I know the AK is valuable on CT, but still. He's actually looking to give it a look, which I'm happy about. DSSJ is playing short with the AWP. Got Getchecker on site. Pretty impenetrable hold, you would think, here for ARCRED, but you never know. There is utility. Smoke in a kit as well. First duel, though, and Getchecker's holding the angle in the open. Confident that he was going to hit that shot, and did. So, ARCRED do find the answer. Fair play on getting both those two trades over toward B there. That one definitely could have gone awry, knowing the double hold. Latic maybe will be ruined, going for a reface immediately, right there, when Kronos was still fighting on Car. Maybe stayed alive a second longer, played behind the pallet and watched toward the apartment's exit for a little bit longer, rather than swing to the right side to check the second window. So that's obviously being a little bit picky. DSSJ, though, great start to the following round. Boosted up on toward ramp, and Hobbit's already gone.
Obviously for Hobbit, he's a player of such experience, such ability, and I think he's got to realise that OneWin had such a stranglehold on this CT side. They were 5-2 up. It seemed impenetrable. Latic finding Raging. Spots the slight head because of the elevated angle. We've seen a couple of those there from Latic.
Silence for a bit with a minute to go as they look to try and regroup. DSSJ looking just to hold the B apartments for any aggression, knowing that OneWin might go looking for something even though it's a 4v4. They're very insistent on doing that, and a couple of rounds on D2. But they are sticking with the 3 in mid. Smoke can come through. Kronos is going to try and peek ahead of that. Sees nothing, actually. Maybe a pixel behind the top mid boxes, but I don't think so. He's going to rotate over toward B. That leaves Con a bit exposed, but where that smoke came through, he's kind of expecting a B split, and that's exactly what's going to be happening. His repositioning is excellent, Kronos, but he doesn't get a kill, only damage. So Ozic probably needs 2, and Chill's waiting for it. Immediate headshot. ARCRED have kind of gone into decent setups in these last couple of rounds, but they've come out with the win.
Yeah, and this is all after the tack pause. This is all after kind of that conversation of, okay, well, what's really working poorly for us is it's the trading, it's the setups, it's the protocols. We're not actually playing as a team. We're playing as 5 individuals. And now it seems as though they have got that synergy amongst them. They have got kind of the identity of, okay, well, we're going to look to have kind of pincer maneuvers. Every time contact's taken, there's a swing from elsewhere. So not only is there the opportunity to take down our opponent before he even gets a kill, but even if he does, there's a trade ready. And that's what ARCRED have looked really good at. And obviously their post-plant setups, they're so quick to get into. It's not as though OneWin can capitalize. It's not as though we can see a rotation in time. ARCRED have been really clinical in that kind of final third, if we want to say. It's the fact that we're seeing ARCRED, the second they've kind of formulated their plan and they have the idea of what they want to do, okay, well, we're going to hit towards B. They have such an in-depth idea of what has to be achieved. And even with this, even just a little opening kill like this, we haven't seen structure like that from ARCRED. We haven't seen little moments like that from ARCRED. So I think the odd gimmick here or there to find the opener, the identity they're having when it comes to the late takes of bomb sites, I'm really liking this from ARCRED. Is it persuasive enough for me to feel confident they take Mirage? Not at all, but if they can continue with this trend, I think OneWin might have seen potential for this map to slip through the cracks.
Damage onto Inter's playing ticket. We need support from Hobbit pretty quickly here. They are a lot of utility into Inter's position as well. Only just survives on 15, and Chill will remove Hobbit. Suddenly, OneWin have gone a bit cold, and it's not due to their reads. Their reads have been good, as I've been touching on over toward B in the previous round. Just not connecting with these instant headshots, not connecting with these anchor positions. Pretty silly position for Chill to be in, I feel like. That exposes both him and Ryujin, but surely the damage is still too much on Inters and Ozic. They've been able to wrestle an advantage, but it doesn't matter if you're Ozic. Instant swing headshot, it's all down to DSSJ, and that's a big miss. Uh-oh. He's going to be naded off into one palace as well now, and he realizes that keeping the AWP is probably the best play, as that defuse is going to be coming in. OneWin have wrestled that round back after I just said they were falling behind a little bit on the firepower. Well played.
Well, again, it was the poor positioning there. It was the deeper positioning from players like Rajin, like Chill.
True.
They were close towards Ticket. They looked to try and kind of have that identity of, okay, well, we're going to take contact and swing off each other. The issue was just the overwhelming amount of CTs. They just weren't prepped for it. They might have thought, okay, well, we just need to deal with Inters here. He's alone, he's low HP, but no. Already one run had rotated across. Bit unfortunate there for ARCRED because it did feel as though they were gaining a lot of ground, and obviously we'd be seeing this as a 5-5 scoreline. Still would be finances in play. Oh, DSSJ is playing in front of this Molotov. Ozik has spotted though. Smoke landing in apartments. Nade as well to follow. Nice HE grenade. Hefty HE. DSSJ taking a bit of a timing shot, but we'll just look to back away here now.
Yeah, that was the what broke that setup for ARCRED for sure. Having one behind Ticket and one kind of exposed near that smoke in CT. Kind of a setup you never see for good reason. Okay, we've up toward Cat in this round though, and once again creeping towards short. But there are two CTs looking to fight this time. At least up toward Bricks. Oh, only a leg shot. And then a second swing will come in from Ozik to help out immediately, but it's forcing Kronos away. They will know the second player is dinked for sure, or egged for sure. The Inters manages to at least find Chill, and somehow, again, they've wrestled a 3v3 out of this.
Yeah, the issue is as well, is Inters is here towards Ticket. That's the bomb now dropped, and in doing so, Kronos, it's this real push and pull. Inters is taking contact, and now Kronos feels confident. No scope from Latic, and it leaves Rajin in a 1 versus 3. Inters, nice third of the round. Second on the Agret through Con. 1 win, they get 7. Well, they've won the half. That's obviously very important.
It will be better than... it won't be better than the first map, obviously, but I still think they're going to be pretty content with it. An 8-4. Maybe their T-side will be a little bit weaker, but you know, overall, if you dig a bit deeper on it, it's pretty even between the two sides for them on this map. So we shall see.
Latic. He's had a pretty consistent half when it comes to finding opening kills, when it comes to finding frags. And that's exactly what you want to have from your AWP. Finding that success, continuing and being able to have that level of brilliance. Boost here into apartments. Should allow for a rotation from Kronos, but Hobbit finds a pick beforehand. Inter's in fact the one to take that one down. Finds get Jekka. Inter's attempting a bit of an evacuation mission, not found. Latic now. Oh, Latic. Oh, he's a bit quick on that shot.
Yeah.
Maybe, don't know really why he felt the pressure of that. It's not as though anyone was holding. Obviously, there could be an opponent close to jungle, and that's why he is now holding this line. But Hobbit dropping down Rajin, finding Ozik. Ozik was the player elevated, and it's caused so many issues. They're going to just play through B. We've got a deep position as well from Ryojin. Is being held by Kronos here. Great find from Kronos. I don't really know why Ryojin's going for that peak. He's given up a lot of control. Molly landing. Oh, great Molotov. It forces Rajin back. DSSJ is just on the line with the AWP. Kronos. Oh, based on the AWP shot. I love that. And now we can just see Latic hold this line, but DSSJ finds. What a pre-fire there from DSSJ. Kronos, though, can still get the kill. And now DSSJ questioning, well, is he going to push through this smoke? Is he already at bench? Kronos now jumping out. DSSJ, though, he's using the smoke to his advantage. Oh, naded the smoke from Kronos. I like the idea of this, but DSSJ can scurry back. All about steps, all to force him into unknown territory, but the no-scope of DSSJ. ARCRED, at least they get that final round. It did look a little bit scary. I thought we'd see a 5-5, but it was just that one clutch, that big moment. ARCRED, they do salvage a 5th, but 1 win winning the half. I think it's a fair assumption of this game. Yeah. Especially with how 1 win looked so dominant. It was 5-2. I think from that moment, I don't think ARCRED are going to be disappointed. 7-5 is fairly ordinary from Mirage, isn't it?
I think for DSSJ there, I'm delighted that he's been able to find a way to win that final round. I mean, the shot on Latic must have been pretty impressive, to be fair. I mean, the no scope at the end is, when it comes to no scopes, a relatively basic one, but he's under the pressure of that 1v1, and Kronos kind of did everything right. Bounding out of the market, trying to jump around, trying to break the smoke, trying to fake the footsteps, trying to make DSSJ feel uncomfortable, but didn't throw him off in the end. One win, as you say, I do think be slightly disappointed with it being only 7-5. Do you think they were good for an 8-4 in that half? But that was, we'll go back to the earlier portion of that final round of the half. They were pretty disappointed with how it ended in general, because they had that advantage. They had Hobbit and Inters looking like prime Gambit on the A-bomb site. But, yeah, just the over-peak from Latic, or the over-indulgent shot, maybe you could say, from Ticket to Stairs, not hitting, and that kind of set the tone for ARCRED to respond. But anyway, pistols underway. Rajan's already got the opening toward Kronos. The bomb plant should come through, but they're playing retake with the kit on Get Jacker.
Yeah, I like the idea of this. Obviously for ARCRED, they've got the man advantage, they've got the utility, they've got everything they need for this retake, and I think it's the smart decision to not kind of force anyone into bad fights or anything like that. DSSJ playing close, but ozic finding the Glock, the advantage in this scenario. He finds third, Rasian gets his second of the round, but ozic finds 4. What a pistol round there, and 1 win. They're going to snap that one up every day. That is devastating, though. ARCRED, I was talking about how they're playing it slow, they're playing it kind of very systematic, but this is the issue of trying to creep close against a Glock. He finds 3 hit. Absolutely ridiculous. And obviously Hobbit does a lot of work from Palace to take all that attention away from the 3 retaking CTs through jungle. They're all looking at Hobbit, and that's just what allows ozic to activate that. Look at the kill disparity between these two teams. We've got 3 players on 1 win with 11, 2 with 9 kills, and it's obviously the 3 stars with 11, and it's the facilitators with 9. This is exactly how you want a game of Counter-Strike to go. This is brilliant. 1 win. They are now 5 rounds away from taking the series. Obviously, more like 4, as this is just the USPs, but the MAC-10 of ozic struggling. Will get taken down by Rasian, and they have the damage dealt by Rasian to Kronos as well.
Huge round to win if you're on win, but now they need to just hold on to this one. It should be fine. It's only a full EK for ARCRED. Just don't take too much more damage. Keep the 3 rifles up, whatever you do. Doesn't look like they're going to be fine. There is a bit of a rotation around here from ARCRED to try and hold them against the exit from the bomb explosion. The SSJ might not even be... he will be cleared properly by the looks of things. There we go. It was a bit of a bait-in setup. That's why they did want to clear it properly, and that's a great job from Latic. Easy tap headshot. They will lose Kronos, like I said, but they've kept the 3 rifles up. Haven't taken any losses to the bomb. Rajan will save absolutely nothing other than giving 1 win an extra $300.
Obviously, this is such an important round for ARCRED.
Yeah, could be staring down the barrel of a 1-win 2-0 at this point. ARCRED. Don't forget, it's not the elimination game, though. This is a 2-1 matchup. With 1 win this, they will be through to the playoffs of CCT EU number 7. ARCRED will have 1 more chance in the 2-2 game.
Smoke towards top con here. This is going to kind of keep the SSJ questioning. Flashes here towards short. Kronos taking this space. He's dodged the contact in window, but Rajan, nice find here. Kronos, a bit of a late trade, but still comes through. Rajan, Rajan dealt with by Hobbit. Hobbit's had some good moments here It's Chill on low HP, it's DSSJ, and they're going to be crunching in on Chill. Nice from Ozic. DSSJ surely just the save, but he gets the first. Does he feel like he has to go for this? He's gravitating towards the bomb site. There's this idea that DSSJ, he's got this slight realization of, well, if I don't go for this round, I'm kind of in a tough position, but if I do, I lose the AWP.
I think you could do that. You could argue the save there is the choice that probably 95% of pros make. But I get what you mean. It is a case of we're too far behind now. We need to try and make something special happen. We're on an eco next round anyway around that AWP. Look at what we would have had. The AWP and just these 5-7s. That's it. Probably the better choice, but still. Wanted to try and make something happen. And not going to be the case. 1 win, 3 rounds away now. And Hobbit looking great. That clear toward Raijin in window in that previous round was one that Raijin should probably get every single day of the week. And that's the kind of thing I was talking about Raijin. Actually, before the game got underway even, on Dust 2, he can look very, very clean. And sure, that was Hobbit kind of just clearing him, like, hitting the shot first. But sometimes those kills do feel like they should be a guarantee, and his form in general, he can go missing.
Yeah, I think form's obviously really difficult as well when you've just had a change in role, because I think there's still that slight thing in the back of Raijin's mind of, well, I'm the star, I'm gonna go for the fight, I'm gonna win the game. Yeah, there has been a real kind of personnel change in this ARCRED roster. Raijin, though, will take down Hobbit.
Glimmer of hope, especially considering he's got 2 in the round, picked up the AK, and still got 92 health intact. They're going toward 2 pistols as well. Palace player and Inter's making a lot of noise. Good data toward Get Jekka, but there's low HP, and there's one more. It's going to spiral now. Inters needs a couple, but only gets the one. There's the 5-7, and there's the AK rotating in. All of a sudden, that's a big lifeline for ARCRED.
Yeah, obviously, they just needed that. They just needed it massively. We talk about how it should be a guaranteed 11 for 1 win, but that just moment of brilliance with those 5-7s, certainly what ARCRED need. It's that lifeline. It's that kind of salvaging moment.
Got to compound that now, though, because if they lose this following round, that hard work is undone, right? Because they've got a chance to break 1 win's money here. Their chance to really get a path back into the game. Getchecker's already dealt with Hobbit. Inter's trying to jump away toward ramp and will get away. Ozic tagged down to 52 already, even though Getchecker sure is 4 HP himself after taking a dink, I believe. But still, 1 wins by, as I said, and money is not great. So ARCRED could get to 8 here if they take the next 4 kills.
Nice find there from Chill, even while blinded. The util looks good for 1 win, but it's the fact that Ozic goes down. Raging can just look to maneuver. Just gets the 1 there from Raging.
Okay.
Cronus and Inters. It's 2 versus 3. We've got a low HP Jekka as well. This is possible. Might be difficult, but possible, especially with a missed shot from DSSJ.
Atik's taken the gamble there on the cross, knowing he only had the deagle to go with the Galil, but he might have only needed that deagle anyway. He's destroyed Ryujin. You mentioned Getjekka still very low. He's been given the AWP. And the problem is for ARCRED here is they need the kills quickly because Getjekka is the one with the kit. And he's a tickle from death. And Inter's holding the line and will remove DSSJ. All of a sudden, it's all down to the 4 HP AWP, and he has to retreat. I thought for sure ARCRED were going to hold on here. But 1 win, even though they lost the opening pick over toward B, have found a way to crawl back and grab back this all-important round to stop their money from being broken. Latic hitting that 1 extra 1 dig was probably the key.
Yeah. Obviously, we've seen already said what Latic can provide on the Deagle in this map, and a little moment like that can be so beneficial.
Oh, it was the flanking player as well.
Yeah,
I actually thought it was
exactly.
towards short. My bad.
No, that was the real impressive, because the flank should have found 2-3 kills.
Yeah.
Again, though, we saw ARCRED kind of win around. They shouldn't, and now OneWin have shown that sign.
Away from the playoffs of CCT Season 3 Europe Series 7.
Yeah, obviously for ARCRED, they've already burnt through a fair bit of utility. They've got this triple setup towards A. They've got Raijin just waiting here. Chill, the lone defender, towards B, and that's where OneWin are heading. Things could get really tough for them, but that's why we've seen this rotation from DSSJ. It's all in combination with the space taken towards ramp, but here it is. B play coming through, missed shot from DSSJ. Chill's been dealt with. And are they going to save? Is it going to be the save call?
Yeah, feels like it, doesn't it? That's so frustrating. There's one kill. You've got the big flank dealt with. Kronos has seen one more coming through TV as well. Yeah, Getchecker's going to have to retreat. DSSJ tagged down, couldn't get himself back into a position to even help out on the site whatsoever. Just like that, it's all been cancelled out. OneWin by far the better team so far today. And just as an example, when I talk about their firepower, map 1, early game, definitely Ozic, definitely Latic. Here, look at the numbers. 15, 14, 13, 14, 13. That is a team performance.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for OneWin, it's the type of game that a lot of the time you might have a Latic just a monster game, or you might have a masterclass from anyone. And I think a lot of that game you might look back and go, oh god, thank god he was playing so well, we might not have won that. But this is just, I think these types of games are way better, where everyone's stepping up, everyone's having the good moments, everyone's chiming in. It's not a one-man show, it's not a two-man team. It is just the idea that OneWin, they had their game plan on Mirage and they executed it perfectly.
Some of the rounds as well, they've just been able to outmaneuver ARCRED. It's not like the firepower, like I've been talking about, has been the deciding factor in every single one of these. I think there's a bit of a skill diff here between these two in terms of a little bit of the name value, I would say, as well, with the likes of Hobbit and Inters and Latic. Also, just the experience at this sort of level of Counter-Strike. Hobbit hasn't been here for a lot of his career. He's been probably most of the time been at the top of the game, but back playing in Tier 3 for about, what is it, like a year now or so? Just under?
Yeah.
He's looking very, very good as the leader and a fragger, and delivering these important rounds when it matters. Remember that clutch, that 1v2 on Dust 2 as well. They've got a 5v4 here. Try and close it out.
ARCRED. 4 players surviving. Ozic finding Raijin, Kronos, Raijin found, Chill, DSSJ, 2 versus 5. Chill gets the kill, but another missed shot from DSSJ.
Bit of an overswing there from Hobbit. Does allow DSSJ to get that one, but in the end, Latic swings for it and takes him out. Chill. It's been a bit of a difference between Red Zed and Chill on ARCRED in recent times, but Chill playing today, not able to do anything there, and all of ARCRED weren't really able to do anything this afternoon against OneWin. That is a very, very convincing performance from the OneWin players, right? I mean, you can argue they're definitely making progress up. They're kind of just languishing in some very low-tier tournaments relatively recently. But they've been in the last month or two, they're starting to play more of these tournaments and looking a lot better. Maybe that they were flattered to deceive in that game because ARCRED were kind of not at the races. That's why it made one win look so good. But there's definitely something there. I like what I'm seeing from them.
Yeah, obviously, it's not as though for ARCRED they can't still qualify for playoffs. That wasn't a 2-2 game. It was an elimination. It was obviously for promotion. So there's still the opportunity that ARCRED can do it in that 2-2 fashion. And obviously, they're joining teams like Ruby, like FabBet, like Sinners that are already there. Obviously, though, we still have more action to be unfolding for the rest of this afternoon. As the next matchup, we've got AMKAL to face against Khan. Obviously, again, with it being another 2-1 record game, we're going to have another team promoted to the playoffs. I'm excited to see the result of that one. But Trav, we're going to be on a bit of a delayed start. We've got quite some time before that game kicks off, about an hour and a half in fact, so it's going to be quite the wait. Make sure you set yourselves your alarms, get some time to get some food, maybe a drink of water, whatever. But I'm looking forward to that second series. Again, congrats to OneWin. They were the better team today. ARCRED, they can come back tomorrow or the days after and still make it through. But let's see how these remaining games do go for us tonight. As I mentioned, we are going to be heading to a bit of a prolonged break, so don't go too far. We'll be back very soon.